Just get a new iPhone 16 or 16 Pro for the holidays? Are you confused as to why Siri looks different? Wondering what this button does? Want to create a custom emoji to send to your friends? Don't worry, I'm going to go over all of these new features and more for your new iPhone. Alright, so if you're wondering what in the world this button does here on the right side of your new phone, well, that's the brand new camera control button, and you can use it to launch into the camera app. You can take a photo or video quickly, and you can even access different camera controls like zooming in and out, changing exposure levels, and more. Now, I highly recommend going into the Settings app. Under Camera, at the top you'll see Camera Control. There are a few options here that make a big impact on how you use the Camera Control button. Like when you light press it, you first have that clean preview, but you can change it to having the auto exposure, autofocus lock, which will basically behave as like the half press for a DSLR camera. It makes it feel a little bit more natural. I also recommend changing the launch of camera controls from a single click to a double click because of how often I accidentally press it in one time and then just open the camera app. And so if you think you're going to do the same thing, then this will prevent that. Also, you can use the camera control with third-party apps like Instagram and Snapchat. So if you're constantly snapping photos or videos to upload to your story, well, just cut out the middleman and immediately launch directly into that mode via camera control. Now, Camera Control also has a unique Apple Intelligence feature, which we'll get into all of the Apple Intelligence stuff here shortly, but specifically for Camera Control, you now have Visual Intelligence. This gives users a very quick way to identify objects, points of interest, or other things that you might see and you want to know more information on. All you have to do is just long press on Camera Control, and you'll go into this new UI here where you can quickly snap a photo, and then you'll see card-style information for popular points of interest, or you can search Google and even ask ChatGPT for more information on what you might be looking at. This is very helpful, for example, if you see a restaurant or a menu or a box or any kind of product or something that you don't know, you just snap a photo and you should be able to get that info either via ChatGPT or Google. Now, chances are if you just got a new iPhone 16, then you might be coming from an older iPhone that probably doesn't have a few of these other really key new features like the action button, the dynamic island, or Apple Intelligence, which is what I mentioned earlier. Now let's start with the action button. The mute switch is no longer here, but instead, out of the box, you have a mute button. Now the cool part is this button is customizable, and you no longer need to have it dedicated to just simply placing your phone on silent, although you can keep it that way if you want to. But if you head into the Settings app and you select Action Button, here you have a bunch of different options to choose from, like having it go to different focus modes, or turning on your flashlight, going into the Translate app. You can quickly toggle on a shortcut that you might have created, or new for iOS 18 is the ability to select a control that you would find in Control Center. And there are tons of first and third-party options to choose from here to make your iPhone's new action button more useful than ever. Now, the Dynamic Island has been around for a couple of years now, but it was only available for the iPhone 14 Pro and then any phone new after that. So if you had an iPhone 14, like the standard model, or anything older, well, then the Dynamic Island will be new to you. And so this little pill-shaped cutout here at the top of the screen is where your front-facing camera is located, but it also gives you more information at a quick glance, like music, alarms, and even live activities of specific events or information that might be relevant to you. Now, I use this area constantly for monitoring flight information, or better yet, the score of the game if you're not able to watch it. All of those live activity info will dynamically update, and for some functions like music, you can long press to quickly access certain functions and controls. Apple Intelligence, which is Apple's slate of AI features, is another new aspect of iOS 18, but it's only available for iPhone users who have an iPhone 15 Pro or any new iPhone 16. So chances are this is probably the first time that you might be experiencing Apple Intelligence. And because there are tons of features, I highly recommend checking out my video guide, which you can do so by clicking the card here in the upper right corner. But to give you a few brief things to try out, you can create emojis that don't exist in the library of pre-made options by just simply typing what you might want and then tapping Create Emojis. And you have to do this on the emoji keyboard. You can also do this in a new app called Image Playground, which allows you to create an image from a prompt to insert into messages, notes, etc. Now, both of these new features can be personalized to include yourself or people from your Photos library. Notifications are now summarized for every app on your device. I love this feature because now you can get tons of information briefly in a notification. So, for example, if you got an app that's just spamming you with notifications and it might be different things, well, you get one notification at the top level that will tell you, kind of a brief summary of everything that it just sent you. So this is really helpful for group chat notifications that are just popping off, or tons of emails, or whatever the case may be. And you can go ahead and enable or disable this for any app, specifically in the Settings app. You might have also noticed that Siri does look different. And while the new exciting features for Siri are not all quite here yet, there are a few useful updates behind the new look and feel. So you can now ask follow-up questions, and Siri is smart enough to understand the context of the request. So I can ask the temperature of a specific city, and then follow up with what's the humidity, and it will know that I meant the city that we were previously talking about. You can also double tap the bottom of the screen here to type to Siri, and making it more useful for when you can't quite speak out loud to your phone. Lastly, there are a few iPhone 16 specific camera features that you should try out here, like these new audio mixes. So any video that you record, you can go in and change the mix of the audio. There's in frame, which isolates what's just in frame, and so anyone talking behind it, that's going to be muffled a little bit. And you can remove the surrounding noises, no problem. Studio is like that, but on steroids. It's like more of a podcast level feel of isolation, kind of just elevating the vocals of what's in frame. And then cinematic is a good blend of in frame and background noise. And of course, you can adjust all of these to your liking with the slider at the bottom. If you have an iPhone 16 Pro or Pro Max, I highly recommend trying out the updated telephoto lens, because this is probably the first time you've tried it with that crazy 5x optical zoom, but also you can now take slow motion videos at 4K 120 frames per second, which looks fantastic. Also in the camera app, in the top right corner here, there's like this little square icon. Tap that. That's for the new photographic styles, where you can actually swipe through different versions, kind of like what we had before, but at the bottom, there's like a little tone mapping area here where you can slowly adjust what you might want your photographic style to look like. And some of these tones look fantastic, and you can keep it baked into your camera if you want to. You can apply it in the photo editor if you want to, or you can remove it, no problem, or add it to a photo later. It's just fully customizable to however you might want to use photographic styles. And I really, really like that. And so that's it. Those are some of the major features that you should definitely try out with your new iPhone 16 or 16 Pro. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. How are you liking your new device? Go ahead and let me know. And of course, this has been Dan with MacRumors. Please subscribe if you liked this video and you found it useful. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you around in the next video.